Okay. Good evening, everybody, and welcome to this meeting of the Woodley Town Council's Planning and Community meeting, being held today on the 27th of April. Get that right? 28th, sorry, I get it right. 28th of April, 2026. Woodley Town Council meetings are now recorded, with recordings streamed live and stored on the Town Council's YouTube channel. By virtue of attending the meeting, you consent to having your image and audio recorded for this purpose. If you do not wish your image and audio to be recorded, then please do not stay for the meeting. For those in attendance, we are not expecting a fire drill tonight, so if you hear the fire alarm, please head to the nearest fire exit and congregate at the fire assembly point by the Oakwood Centre at the front of Woodford Park. Thank you. Before I start the meeting proper, I'd just like to say a few words about the sad loss of Ronnie Goodbury, who I think most people in Woodley would know of, or perhaps many of you have met. He was a great ambassador for Woodley. He did so much good work, not only in Woodley. Obviously he did a lot of work getting vital aid to Ukraine, and I think he's going to be a great loss to our community and certainly to members of the Woodley family. So I'm very sorry to hear that news. Okay, apologies.
Yes, we have apologies from Councillors Horskins, Sartorel and Singh, and Councillor Horskins is attending the meeting virtually.
Thank you. Declarations of interest. Does anybody have any declarations? Yes, Carol.
Yes, Mr. Chairman. I won't be taking part in the discussion on item application. It's on page 11, application 260830 and 26071. If they get listed, I'd like to be able to debate them when I'm on the planning committee. So,
okay. 260.
It's the Headley Road 260751 and Loddon Bridge 260830.
Okay, thank you. Okay, minutes of the Planning and Community Committee meeting held on the 31st of March, which is on page 3 of the agenda. Are you happy that that's a true record of that meeting and I can sign them as such? Mm-hmm. Yes. Okay, thank you. And on to page 9 of the agenda, actions and follow-ups on page 9. Let's go over. We've got anything up to update this? Nothing to add to.
Only the items that are completed since the last meeting.
Okay. We've had no further news on the notice boards for the.
Not at this point. That project's not progressing at this point.
Okay. Right. And we come to the current planning applications, which is on page 11. We're going to take them out of order of the agenda because we have representatives of members of the public who have an interest in these items. So the first one we will take is planning application 260787, which is 6 Frimley Close, Woodley, and it's a householder application for the proposed erection of a single-storey rear extension. Okay, I think, do we have members who want to talk on that one? You're going to speak on it, are you?
Yes, I can do.
Yeah, would you like to say something now, or would you rather listen to what the committee have to say on it?
If you speak, and then we'll.
Okay, right. Okay, so have we got the drawings up?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I can obviously see.
Right, I think we've had objections on this one from neighbours. Yes, we have, and that's there. That's all listed. Anybody any comments on this one at all? Those our feelings as a committee. It's quite a large addition to the existing boundary. I think that's what I'm looking at. Yeah.
The one thing I wasn't sure about is the actual size of the plot left. I mean, one or two of the objections from the neighbours related to the reduced garden size, wouldn't it? It's difficult to actually see on that plan what the size of that garden is.
including the decking and the grass, yeah.
Yeah.
Can I ask, who lives on the house here, which is where the objections are? Who's backing onto it?
Us three. And
All
then
three?
around the house.
Okay, yeah. And you've all got the same concerns over?
Yeah,
Yeah, okay.
and I would say the garden is small. There's also 3 large trees within that space as well,
Right,
which haven't been listed on the planning application.
okay.
Yeah, they're not shown on that plan, are they?
Well,
It comes
Oh,
quite
right.
close to the fence. What's the other side of that?
sorry?
It comes quite close to the fence.
Yeah, yes,
What's on the other side?
yeah. Will we get a street view? Yeah. Yes, it actually shows it as a much smaller plot. Seems to there, doesn't it?
It's actually an explanation.
It's the left-hand side one.
Yeah,
isn't it?
Yeah.
It's to the left of the red dot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And your concern is overbearing, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Because it's going to bring that inside outside living right up to our sort of living space.
And also with the tree, there's a large tree which is years old. The roots, we're concerned about the roots. That's not been mentioned at all either. So if they're digging up footings.
Right, yes, yeah, okay, that's a,
There's also another application from them as well, which is not listed, which is 260788, and it's for a large dormer window as well. They're going to convert the loft.
That's for certificate of further development to
Yes,
our
that's right.
special about.
yeah. Yes, that hasn't come to us at all, to this planning committee at all, 788. We only have 787.
Yeah,
So we-
788 was for certificate of lawful
Dormers,
development.
yeah, so it doesn't come to this committee, so we can only look at this particular one as a planning application. Okay, so what's the general feeling? Yes, Carol?
What's the size of the rear extension? I don't know if you've got that. We won't see it on that, it'll be on the
No, and it doesn't,
floor
it's
plan.
very difficult to see the exact, let me have a look at the proposed floor plan. Very difficult to work out the exact,
Yeah.
that area there.
Okay, so it's kind of filling in plus, isn't it? The minimum garden size is 10 square metres, but it does depend on how many bedrooms there are. The tree is,
Yeah.
I don't think would be a consideration because it's not impacting the, I don't know where it is, that would be helpful if we could.
That's where it's located, that's the,
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
one that has a TPO on it, that dot
Oh,
up there in the
okay.
top left-hand
So
corner.
that wouldn't impact the extension then, might impact other people, but it's there already, isn't it? So, yeah. I think the garden size isn't a planning
No,
reason to refuse this. Overlooking, it's a single story, so
Story,
that wouldn't, sorry, I'm saying that, this is what the planning reasons are, not what particularly I think. But it's single story, so there's no overlooking, is what they say. The garden size looks big enough because we're so used to postage stamp gardens now with new houses, so they are a minimum size. So actually in planning terms, I can't see anything wrong with it, but I understand where you're coming from.
So your concerns for overlooking your properties with a single story, where would that?
Not for the single stories, but the other plan and for the door, we
Yeah.
were told to comment on that as well. That's where that part's come in, the overlooking, because that will literally look
Yes,
directly
yes.
into all of our houses.
As I say, we haven't got that one and we're not going to
Yeah,
have that one.
yeah.
And I think any objections you need would have to go to the borough. Not through us, unfortunately, as much as we'd like to, but we can't make a comment on it. So, I mean, I think as far as committee is concerned, we can't find a reason on this one, on the ground, a single story. I think I'm speaking for everybody to form a reason to recommend refusal. But your main concern is the one that we're not looking at, and for that reason, I would say make your representation to the borough on that
We are
one.
concerned about that one as well, because it will bring the indoor-outdoor living space closer to ours. There's already a lot of noise from that house, which will obviously, we have to have our doors and windows closed a lot.
Yeah.
Especially-
Again, unfortunately, noise is not a planning issue. I know it might sound strange, it's not a planning issue. That would be something that the environmental health and antisocial behaviour team would have to take up. We can't look at it as something that is likely to happen. We can only look at the plans and say, you know, is there a sufficient depth of garden still available before it actually impacts on you? And it's really...
What with regards this, because this tree is huge, it's taller than all of the houses along that road as well.
Right.
You know, so that's why we think that there might be subsequent roots under there, and if the foundations are built, it could unstabilise those roots and cause, because the tree is, as I say, it's well above the roof line of the houses.
And it's not maintained either by the people in the house.
I think, Mr Chairman, we could certainly raise that as an issue, explain that if the residents were here, we could outline their concerns again, although I know you've written in, but also state that the tree, if that was, if its roots were impacted by the building work, then it would be a danger.
Okay.
Also the bifold doors as well. That's obviously a design, but that actually opens up the whole level of noise outwards.
Yes.
If that was closed up and it was a window, that would be totally different.
Yeah. I mean, again, we can make reference to it, but you know, there is concern over what possibly could happen. But it's, as I say, that unfortunately wouldn't come under us for a planning issue. It's something that would need to be dealt with should it subsequently cause I know it's sort of shutting the door, but after the event, if there is a problem with noise, then that goes back to environmental health and also to the antisocial behaviour. But that would need to be dealt with as and when it happens.
And the fact that they didn't mention all the trees on the planning, does that need to get checked out? Because there's obviously the large tree, but there's two others.
That's the only one with the little TPO on it, though. Yeah.
We'll draw the attention of the officer to that. So, yeah.
Sorry, we can't be more decisive on this one, but you know, we're tired as much as you are, I'm afraid. But I would certainly suggest that you make representation on the other application for the dormers.
Can we not add in our comments that we would like the committee to take due note of the residents' concerns
Over the other application.
and consideration together with the application for lawful development?
The lawful development certificate is essentially the applicant saying, I'm allowed to do this without seeking permission.
Yeah.
So if it is permitted, they will be allowed to do do
Yeah,
but if not, then it will come as an application and they would take the objections into account.
If it's the two applications gone in, the lawful development will be looked at in the application for lawful development and dealt with as such. The two won't be considered together. That's why I say that, you know, we ask the committee to take the residents' objections into account and consider this application together with the application for lawful development. Because that could have a bearing on the overall, yeah.
It's more a case of if it is under lawful development, then they can build it without seeking permission. So if it is lawful development, it is lawful development, any of it. I mean, even the rear extension could arguably be considered under lawful development if it's not over a certain distance. They've probably taken advice by applying it, so they probably feel that dormer is under lawful development. If it isn't, because it's overlooking out of character and all that stuff, they'll be forced to make an application, at which point they will then take comments into account. But if it's lawful development, they don't even need to put in that application. They could just build it, and that would be that.
Okay.
Sorry, so you're saying that second application for the dormer was under permitted planning? So
That's what they are applying it. They believe it's lawful development and therefore are asking Wokingham to confirm that it is. If Wokingham believe it isn't, they will say to them, we're not going to give you a lawful development certificate, you should apply. And if they go ahead and don't apply, then they would be breaching planning because they don't have application, don't have approval for it, and then there would be enforcement and stuff like that. It doesn't mean it is under lawful development. That's basically for Wokingham to then determine based on that application. And we've seen plenty of dormers come through here that I think would suggest that it possibly isn't lawful development, but they're asking. So you can keep an eye on that application, and having put comments on there, I believe their system should still, even though it's not subject to consultation, it should notify you of the outcome when it's made. So you should be emailed and phoned, but you can keep an eye on it after the date and just check what the outcome is. And if it's not approved, you'll know that they should be following that up with a full planning application.
with the two applications, then would that make become an overdevelopment of that property?
It would be a very different application.
It's just because they're two separate, they're not married up, and now the two of them together, is it like an overdevelopment of the property?
Each application is decided on its merit. It seems a bit clunky, but they have to look at the one we have to look at the one we've got in front of us until the other one appears. If it does or it doesn't, then no comments can be made. I was bet my bottom dollar that the officer dealing with the one we have here will be the same one looking at the lawful application. So there will be that continuity, but it has to be taken separately.
Sorry, that's where we are. Anyway, we will make the comments regarding the single story that we can make. And I would, as I said, suggest that perhaps you make representation to the borough on the dormer issue.
We've already put our comments in on that because the time frame was exactly the same.
Right, but if they're there, that's fine.
Which just makes it seem a bit sort of underhand, really, with the way it's been dealt with.
Well, yeah.
It's a process.
Yeah. But unfortunately, as I say, we can only look tonight at the application that's been presented to us. And that is the single story. The other one is not even, we haven't even got a note of it at all.
No, but that's obviously the more intrusive one.
Yeah. Well, there's every possibility, I'm not saying it is a possibility, but there's every possibility that they will say that it is necessary to have planning permission. And so we may go down that road and we may then find it coming back to us.
Right.
That's as best as I can say at the moment.
So in the meantime, we can't do anything.
Yeah,
more.
just keep an eye on it as to what the decision is, as to whether they say that it's recommended for planning application. And I hope. Okay.
Okay.
Thank you very much. Right, you're welcome to stay for the other applications, but if you rather go out and enjoy the evening, feel free.
Right, thank you.
Thank you very much. Difficult, isn't it? I feel for them. But
Yeah, that's my advice to release them in comments.
sorry.
That's my advice them to release comments if they're concerned about it.
Yeah.
They've done everything.
Yeah. Okay, we will now look at the application 260751, and that's the land and garages to the north-east side of Headley Road, Woodley. Full application for the proposed erection of one two-bedroom dwelling to include 3 dormers with garden and parking following demolition of the existing garages. Okay.
Robert has his hand up, Chair.
Yeah, Robert. Come to you
Hi, Bill.
first.
Thanks. Evening, everyone. Matthew, could you pull up the the proposed plan and also the Google Earth image as it currently is for me?
Yeah, absolutely. There's the satellite imagery at the moment and the
Right.
site plan.
Thank you. So on the satellite imagery, you can see the 3 garages with ladders on, and in front of it, I think there's 2 cars parked. Is that showing on your photo?
Yeah.
Yep. So where they're going to intend to build the proposed fence, it's going to be against the boot of that car that's parked in front of the right-hand garage there. You know, there's no law, but UK planning says that the driveway in front of a garage should be 5.5 to 6 meters. This is proposed to be 4.8 meters. The other thing that comparing the plan versus the picture is you'll see that the garages are not drawn correctly on the plan. And indeed, the shed to the left of the 3 garages is a different shape. So it's almost like they've squared off those gardens. I should say, I used to live in the one beside 163, so I know this area very well indeed. And it's heartening and also sad to see that on the list of complaints, there's a couple of names of people I remember from 25 years ago. They have lived there an awfully long time. And this area was used on an ad hoc basis for parking. As stated, there's only 12 parking spaces out the front for 16 flats. The properties are all leasehold. The other thing I've got to say is on here, it says that the retain and repave existing access permeable patio. I'm not sure how you can have a permeable patio on top of a concrete slab. Also on the plan, it shows where you've got the perimeter of the existing garage. It shows how much smaller it is compared to the house and then the fence. Yeah, great to use a brownfield site, but I think it is inappropriate and it will have a detrimental effect on the residents who own those 3 garages. They are owned by them, and they won't be able to have access to them. So I think it's also taking away the ad hoc parking, which if you look on one of the photographs, someone's put some Armco fencing across to take that away already. And I think we should really represent these residents who have made these complaints and strongly object to this. How we can do that, I don't know. I just think the spaces is not right. I wouldn't say it's overdevelopment and perhaps not even overly looked because of the distance from the houses, but it just doesn't sit right with me at all. What does the panel think?
Thank you very much. Yeah. I think we have somebody who's in one of the masonettes here. Is it? Yes. And
yeah, sorry, I'm the applicant.
Oh, you're the applicant?
Yeah.
Right, okay. Can I come to you first? Your concerns?
Mainly the driveway, I live one side and 163 is the other side. It's 9 foot 8 inches. And it's the emergency services getting down there is one of the concerns. I think I might be overlooked into my garden, and 163 will definitely be overlooked. What else is there? If it's a two parking spaces at the back for the occupants, where the visitors go and park, with Justin knows parking out front is not good.
Yes.
That is main. I've got no problem with building a property there. Mine is the concern of that driveway, and also Justin, the boundary line.
Yeah.
You've got the bushes this side.
On what side?
See over on the corner where it goes in.
Yeah.
That bit down there is my.
Which bit, sorry?
The green bit.
Yeah.
On the left side.
Yeah.
Is my hedges.
Yeah, that's your side of the boundary. That's already, they might have been sort of strong.
Instead of the red line being the other side of it. Because if you're going to put bushes.
If you have a look on Google Earth, we'll be able to see now. Can you have a look? So they're in the right place.
The actual access road is not going to change at all, is it?
No, it's got
access
access.
going to change. So you're saying
No,
that
it's
the
just
emergency
where mine
services.
goes around the corner,
Yeah.
there at the top is my hedges, but Jason's got the boundary and red line behind it.
Okay. Right.
Is that, I don't know whether that's relevant.
The questions are in front of the fence, that's all, so obviously they're going to.
Oh, is that supposed to be?
They're going to put the sort of.
But do you want to say a few words on the?
No, but obviously the residents parking, I mean, I bought the land in 2023 when Just Tiles went under. And I just left it open because I use it in and out, and that's on the back of the Harris Benson, which is there now. I store building materials there. Other than that, you know, it's private land, and no one requires access apart from the 3 garages, all garage owners are on site. And, you know, I've had a transport survey done, and there's plenty of room to get a vehicle out. But I don't know, yeah.
You've had a transport survey?
Yeah, transport survey is with the application, yeah.
Right, okay. Any comments from the committee on this one? Anybody, anything to say? I think, well, Robert obviously knows it and has his view, so we've had Robert's view on it. I think the issue over access to the garages is going to be an issue. If it's not possible to get a vehicle out of there, that would be obviously an issue. The boundary fence coming away from the back of the house or the new development. So
It's 2.8 metres the width of the entrance to the driveway. Cars already make their way up there, and vans, you know, I don't.
yeah, when you're coming out of the garage, when you're actually reversing,
So yeah, when you come out of the garage, yeah.
Yeah.
I think the size of them or something will only be suitable for a certain length of car, because they're small garages, because originally they was coal sheds, and had no vehicular access.
No, they were never coal sheds. They were built as garages. They've got garage doors. That's nonsense, sir. Absolute nonsense. People have stored cars in there. I lived there for 7 years from 1995. They were car garages. They've got garage doors, and as shown on Google Earth, there are cars in front of it, and people have used them. So don't try and blindside the committee, sir.
I think as far as we're concerned is that I think it needs clarifying that the access to the garages for a vehicle would still be maintained and possible to use. And I think that needs to be questioned. I think that was your main objection, wasn't it? That the privacy of your.
It was in floor facing over my garden.
Yes.
That was my concern.
Right.
And 163 as well,
Okay.
165 just be facing the back garden.
Can you have a look at the sort of, bring the image up of where the positioning of the building will be, showing the bungalow on it, is that one?
I mean, this.
So if you look on, on the left, as you go down the drive on the left-hand side, Jackie's garden is the other side of that hedge.
Yeah.
And the dormers are either side of the building looking the other way. So they're not going to overlook, and definitely not over them two. And I've been round to see other neighbours, and there's no, problems, but it's up to you guys.
Right, I think our first course is to clarify this business with the garages. Do you think we can make a comment on that? Yeah.
Especially if you think there's not suitable turning space,
yeah.
or concern that there may not be.
There won't be suitable turning. Generally, parking. There's a problem with parking in the number of vehicles already. It would appear if there's 12 and only, or 14 and only 12 spaces. Did you say?
12 spaces, 14.
14, yeah. So there would be perhaps an issue with.
I mean, we manage
Permission
it.
parking.
We manage it now. It's
Yeah.
just if
Yeah.
the people that buy the house have got visitors, where will they park?
Well, they're parking there, there's
Is
2
there-
spaces.
is
and
there
that's business
spaces?
parking. The problem is, so this parking here was used by the staff of Just Tiles, and they used to keep their delivery vehicles in there. So if anyone had a parking there, they shouldn't have been there anyway. It's the same as now, it's like private land. I could by rights put a fence up and block it off, but I don't, so I don't,
I'm not disputing that, gentlemen, it's just that if the owners have got visitors,
I know.
have they got visitors somewhere at the back? Is there enough space for them to park,
Okay.
rather than coming down and going?
Can I
to
bring it
the
back
park?
to our committee now? Any comments from committee members on what we've seen that hasn't already been discussed? Have you got anything at all, Vin?
Yeah, just a quick one. Matthew, can you go back to the application and look at the, it's on page 3, the rendered drive view?
Is that on?
Third one from the bottom, hang on. You've got different,
Rendered drive view, yeah.
yeah, just curious.
This.
Yeah, that one. So that gives a picture of obviously what it's artistically going to look like.
Yeah.
That's not to scale, is it?
I'm unsure. So.
I just wondered.
Yeah.
Because it just looks a lot tighter, especially coming out of the garages, for example.
I mean, I've had a transport survey on it and they passed it. Obviously, I'm not, you know.
When you say transport, who did the transport survey?
Motion. Company called Motion.
It's
attached on there.
Which,
Yeah.
what do you know what the document name was? There's a design and access statement.
Not that.
Technical no transport.
Technical no transport.
I'm sure it was written there.
Sometimes they provide drawings with that of turning circles, which or display, visibility displays and things, but I couldn't see that one adequate. That's trip analysis. Collision data. I can't.
Yeah, exactly.
So what does the design and access statement say?
That's the design and access statement, introduction, site description, the site.
So I did have a pre-app for this as well on, but that was only developed to council come back and say.
Sorry.
It's interesting. I've just Googled the average car length of a UK car, and it's 4.4 metres. So that gives you 400 mil to turn in and out of that garage. And if you're in the right-hand garage, you've got nowhere to turn around once you've reversed out. You have to reverse all the way back down that drive.
Yeah. So the only reference on here is it says existing garages, access maintained, sectional rollers allow for 4.8 metre drive. That's the only comment on there, but there's no displays on here because those don't necessarily relate directly to this property, so that's probably not been considered as part of the application, but yeah.
I think we need to make the comment that we are concerned about the accessibility to those garages. And ask the planning officers to confirm or deny it. Okay. So our recommendation that we would put to the council is that do we have enough objection to sort of recommend recommend a refusal, or are we happy to say we are happy to go ahead with those conditions?
I think on the plans as put forward there, there's no way people using those garages are going to have access to them. And for that reason, I would object.
Anybody else, any comments? Do we agree with what David said, or do you have an opposing view? I think, you know, based on what we've said, for that alone, we would have to agree with David. I would anyway. We have to go with that. And if the planning officers look at it and say, no, it's perfectly all right, that would overrule our objection. That's fine. But I think as far as this committee is concerned, we have to recommend or make the recommendation of a refusal. Are we all happy with that?
Can I say, we don't know when the garages were built, and up until a few years ago, garages were actually built smaller than they are now because
Yeah.
Today's cars are bigger.
I couldn't get a car in my garage.
Can't get one.
Part of all the junk I've got in it. Okay, so, sorry, Ben.
Sorry, I'm just going to ask the applicant a question, sorry. The plans are fine to me, except it's tight. Is there any way, is there a reason it's built that way or it's designed that way? Could you not have, for example, the property on the left, away from the garages, regardless of the right?
Well, so obviously, I think you, what, more to the left this way?
Yeah, could you move it?
I'm not sure, see, my architect just designed it like that because of covering the existing footprint. It's out of the way and it's the part with the less trees overbearing and things like that. And it reaches the meterage for overlooking. So if it was put this side, it might well overlook Jackie's garden.
Right.
But on the basis where it is there, it looks straight over and you've got an electrical substation. So you're not. Yeah, like I say, obviously the architect, that's the way they're designed it, you know.
Well, I've been trying to see where the rear access is to bring it down that way further, to give you frontage. You haven't really got it, have you, because of the trees, but no, but anyway, it's not up to us to replan your.
No, that's fine, that's fine, yeah.
But yeah. So, okay. So, as a committee, how do we see this one? Are we going to go with David's view that we go for refusal because of only on the issue of the garages, the access to the garages, and let the planning officers make a decision on that? Are you, Carol?
Carol's
Oh, you're sorry, you're not there. I'm sorry, yeah, forget it. Okay, so otherwise, with everybody else, including Robert, are we happy to recommend refusal and because of the issues of the garage? Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much. Thanks for your time. Okay. As I say,
Thank you, everyone.
Yeah.
yeah. As I say, you're quite welcome to stay and enjoy the other planning applications, but otherwise, thanks very much for coming along anyway. Thank you. Right, we go back and run down the agenda now, as the order is. Thank you, bye.
Thank you. See you later.
Right, we'll start with 260519, 196 Hurricane Way, Woodley. Household application, proposed erection of a single-storey side rear extension following demolition of the existing conservatory, plus garage conversion to create habitable accommodation. I couldn't see any issues on this one. I don't know whether anybody else had any concerns over this. No? No?
It
You're all
seems
right.
so.
Yeah. Okay.
It
So
looks
that
like it's what other people have done.
Right. And on to 260628, 25 Campbell Road. Household application for the proposed erection of a part single-storey, part two-storey side and rear extension, replacement of the existing garage roof with a pitched roof, erection of a new porch roof to the front entrance and associated alterations to the fenestration. I mean, this is quite a big.
It's enormous.
It is. It's almost doubling the size of the property. So I don't know whether that's an issue, but it certainly made quite a difference on the size, didn't it?
But none of the residents have
No comments, no. So
and it's not unreasonable.
no, certainly a huge extension, though.
There's a similar size extension in Cottesmore Road that went through, and
Yeah.
it looks fine, but I think if it on paper it probably would have looked a bit like this one.
That's right.
Yeah. But as you say, no objections from
I
neighbours.
was confused about the building on the left to start off with, but that's a garage.
That's a garage with a pitched roof.
With a passway for it.
Yeah, yes.
So, yeah, no, I would have no objections.
Everybody else quite happy with that
To
one?
that.
Yep. Thank you. Right. And we come down to 260830, 273 Longbridge Road. Again, one that Carol is going to stand aside from. Do you want me to read all that, or have you all got it? It's quite a lot to read out. Are you quite happy? Right. So We've had objections from one neighbour, I believe. And there's concern over the parking on this one. Now, the thing is, with this one, there was a previous application to lower the curb on the common road side, which I think we looked at, and we agreed that it would be, or it was proposed to make access to for parking, but now it would make access to the house, the actual, the new property. There is concern over the parking. If we have another couple of houses, because I don't think you can park in the first part of Common Road, can you? No, I don't think so. I don't know. So there would be an issue there. Can we just bring up the comments by the neighbour? You've got those there. I don't remember what it was now. You got the number? Yeah. 260830. Oh, is it?
It's car parking.
It's parking up to 4 vans owned by someone who used to live in London Bridge Road but moved away and just uses the road to store his vehicles. So, comments on that one. It's turning what is a detached into a semi-detached, which I think he owns both, so there's not an issue there. Sorry?
Very small.
And very small, yes.
Detached.
Yeah. I think, you know, again, we've got a problem perhaps with the parking. And whether it's, I don't know whether it's in keeping. What's the feelings there?
Agree with all that, yeah. Parking is not within keeping.
Yeah.
Personally, I'm against it. It's too tight, it's too small, it's cramped up. And the parking issue, you can't put an exit out onto Cobham Road.
Okay.
I thought it was overdevelopment to the site.
Yeah. Robert, do you have any concerns? Do you know the?
Sorry, yeah, only on the parking. I think the
Yeah.
W lines go up there a little bit, and I know it gets used quite a bit for the dentist.
Yes.
Parking as well on London Bridge Road. But yeah, it is as you said, it is an overdevelopment of that site, I believe.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I hope the parking for the dentist will sort itself out because he's taken the property next door now, hasn't he?
Yes.
So they might use that. But no, okay, so I think general feeling is that we are not happy with the parking, possible problems with parking and overdevelopment. Yeah, okay. All right with that, Matthew? Yeah. Right, thank you. And the final one, 260910. This is the caretaker's bungalow, application for change of use to educational space. And I'm surprised that bungalow is still there, because when the leisure centre was built, I thought that had gone. I thought when the...
That's a different.
Is it a different one? Oh, because there was one there, wasn't there? There was a caretaker. That's not that one. No, because it actually would be right in the wrong place anyway.
Right smack bang in the middle.
Wrong place, yeah. Okay, so, I mean, I don't know. I can't see any issue with this one, but no. Anybody have any objections?
No.
No. Okay, we'll let that one go through. Thank you very much. That's those done. Page 12, planning decisions. I don't know quite how we stood up. I didn't have a proper read of these. Page 12, whether they went with our views. Determination made by withdrawn, none. Refused contrary, none. Refused endorsing, none. And approved contrary to the. Oh well, we didn't do too well there, did we? We were. Yeah. So Selsdon Avenue, Maple Grove, both went through contrary to our objections, which was out of keeping with the street scene, and objection second one conifer hedges blocking the light in future due to their potential height. So otherwise, I think we were, apart from those two, they went with our views. Okay, I'm going to go then. Over and we come to tree preservation orders. And there's just 2, 58 Webble Drive and 11 Anthea, and it's just the consultation. Enforcement issues, page 14. TT Edwards Convenience Store, 64 House Drive, enforcement notice compliance check, so that one's still to be dealt with. I take it that's more of a licensing issue, is it? I don't know, whether the planning, I take it, would it be a licensing issue? Would we know? No? No.
Details, that's the only one we get.
Okay. And then Highgate Road, tree removal without permission, so that's what's been reported. So we'll wait to see that. And enforcement closures. Most of the no breach, just with the voluntary compliance, the unauthorised fenced line moved. Public land without planning permission, so they're dealt with. And onwards. Page 16, antisocial behaviour report. And I was a little bit confused on this one because when you look at the fly tipping figures, they talk, where are we? At the bottom of the page. But these numbers at the bottom of the page, fly tipping abandoned vehicles, are they relating to Woodley or are they relating to the borough?
They should be relating to Woodley.
Just Woodley.
But for a variety of locations.
Right.
Whereas at the top, they would identify locations that
Yes.
have normally, I think it's 5 or more, I think they normally put up there as an issue.
So we've had, I think, 4 penalty notices issued against 29 fly tipping events, which is not really a great result, I wouldn't have thought. You know, I would have liked to have thought that we could have had a bit more success than just 4 out of 29. That's why I queried the 29.
I guess that's going to the extent to which they can identify.
Well, yeah.
From what's in the
But either you've got the, well, Headley Road car park bottle bank is difficult, isn't it? I mean, there's so many people pulling up there, emptying out and doing it all through the night, I suppose. Tippins Lane, littering, that's but Ashbury Park fly tip, penalty notice of £500 issued. I mean, I know they're using cameras, these battery operated cameras, and they're putting those up, and I would have thought somewhere like Ashbury Park would have been an ideal spot to have had them if it's happening all the time. Carol, on cue?
Yes, you pointed out the 29 fly tipping, there's also 19 abandoned vehicles, so those are 2 large numbers, but we've only got a small number of details because it's on 5 or more reports. It would be useful to see how those numbers at the bottom there, what they refer to, and how often or how bad the reports are. I suspect that time doesn't allow them to do that, but it'd be interesting to ask the ASB team whether or not we could have a bit more information on the higher numbered incidents.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Thank you. Okay. Otherwise, the others are 4, 5, 6, more music, accumulation, waste, which are very. Robert.
Thanks, Bill. Bottle banks. I'm surprised we've still got bottle banks in Wokingham Borough because by the end of March 2026, all local authorities should have been providing glass collection from the doorstep. I just maybe we should throw this question back to Wokingham Borough Council and ask why they're not reaching this government mandate.
Yeah, I mean, I would imagine, I mean, I was listening on the news the other night, the amount of councils that haven't even yet implemented food waste collections because they can't obtain the vehicles to be able to do it. And I was to imagine that perhaps Wokingham's got the same problem in getting the vehicles to actually collect bottle waste. I mean, I know there was some concern when we talked about, and I think it might be back when I was on the borough, about collecting glass waste from the curbside. There was a lot of objections because people said that 7 o'clock or 6 o'clock in the morning, having empty bottles going into a dust cart wasn't particularly attractive. So
it's the embarrassment. It's the embarrassment of all the whiskey and gin bottles that are being collected from my house.
Well, I have that embarrassment going to the bottle bank. So yes, Carol.
Yeah, there's a new contract, waste contract, some of it coming into being on the 1st of June. There certainly is discussion and the bottle collection will happen, but I can't give you the time, dates or how they're going to do it or how quietly they're going to do it, I'm afraid.
Rubber vehicles.
Yeah.
Right. Okay, any more on the ASB report? No, aside from the comments that we've made already and the questions we've asked. Okay, bus service to Twyford Station. And we've all got a copy of the letter that I received from Greg. Thank you very much. Yeah, Linda.
Right, I have a comment on this. The smaller buses that they propose to use, most of those smaller buses do not have wheelchair access.
Right.
Okay, and therefore a lot of the elderly that would use that sort of transportation system to get to Twyford Station would also find it difficult to get on and off because of the height of the step.
Right, so that's a consideration that would need to be highlighted, obviously, yeah. That would be, obviously, if Greg is making that proposal, then that's something that would need to be looked at.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a comment on there about the 127 service.
Yeah.
That stops at Chequers.
Yeah.
That's the only place it stops.
Yeah.
For somebody living on the airfield who wants to go to Twyford Station, it's a hell of a trek to get to the Chequers to pick the bus up, and if they've got to drive there, that defeats the object.
Yeah.
We would really, in my view, want a more inclusive route to take in, particularly the airfield side. I mean,
if you read the letter, I think Greg has covered that.
Yeah.
To take it down the local way.
Yeah. I mean, to use the argument that we've got a 127 bus, it's not serving the purpose that it needs to. No. And you know, if it's going to ease the problem at Twyford Station, that's the other issue that really needs to be highlighted. So,
my main problem with it, I do agree. The service to Twyford at the moment, really is poor. Very few people can take advantage of it. But if we're going to have a service, I think it would make sense actually to take it from Early Station through Woodley. Then you've got a direct link between the Southern Region and the Elizabeth line.
Good point.
It would make sense to do that. But my main concern is the need for it.
Yes.
I would agree between the hours probably of 6:30 in the morning and 8 o'clock.
Yeah.
It is necessary, and probably between 5 and 7 in the evening.
Yeah.
But I'm not so certain the daytime service would be used.
And that's when the chief exec of Reading Transport said we can put one on an hour during that period.
1 hour in the peak period.
No,
in the off-peak period.
Period David's referred to.
Right.
In the peak period, once every half hour.
Yeah. And that was Reading Transport's suggestion.
Chief Executive, Reading Transport. I was there with the MP, and he said he could put them on. Yeah, but he didn't mention anything about wheelchair access. That's something I need to press them about.
Okay. Any other comments or suggestions of the service that we would like to see?
I would like to.
Can I just make a comment? Do press him about the wheelchair access, because I've recently been up to Twyford Station and there is still only three disabled parking spaces at the station.
Oh, it's not enough.
Okay. In the extended bit of the car park, that always looks like a field to me.
Yeah.
There are no accessible spaces.
I mean, on the buses, I would like to see a bus introduced to give a direct service to Wokingham.
Yeah.
You know, you don't want to go round the houses, Sonninghurst, Twyford, Ruscombe, and all the way round the back to get to Wokingham.
It's a very pretty line, David.
But a direct service to Wokingham would be good. Although there you've got to contend with Loddon Bridge.
Oh yeah.
So that might be difficult, because every 15 minutes there's going to be a backlog of traffic as the bus tries to go through the middle.
Yeah.
No, but at the moment, I mean, anyone wants to get Wokingham from here really has got to either go into Reading and then get a bus out from Reading, or find their way to the Wokingham Road. And if they go by bus, the nearest bus stop is in Commons Moor Road.
Oh yeah.
And that's a walk down underneath the bridges.
Yeah.
And then up to the bus stop.
Yeah.
Okay. Robert.
Thanks, Bill. Just to clarify, the 127 goes from Reading Town Centre to Maidenhead Town Centre, and it's run by Carousel, which is part of the Go Ahead bus group. So is what Greg's talking about, is that going to be a completely new bus service from Reading Transport?
Yes.
Thank you.
And they've got funding for it.
Yeah, I mean, it's a no-brainer. It really is good. And what David said about getting to the Wokingham Road, I've walked there and caught the 4 to Wokingham before, and it is quite a trek. Whether we can get a low rider to go that way.
Yeah. Okay, thank you. Carol.
Yes, I think the idea of connecting to stations is a good one, in the sense that getting to early station would get you to the Woking Road, which is the buses that are very, very frequent through to Wokingham. You could also get the train to Wokingham, which would solve that. And then you could get a train from early into Reading and get onto the London, the Paddington line. So I think connecting stations may sound a bit odd, but I think it gives people more options.
Would it be better to use Winners Triangle station for access?
No, not access. It wouldn't. We've got to.
Well, I'm thinking we've got the park and rides going in there, and we've got Rail Air and all those buses going in. They can go in and turn easy, and I'm just thinking of taking a bus service into a station.
The bus is fine. With the train at Winners Triangle, it's an issue because of the raised platform.
Yeah, there's no disabled access on the Wokingham line at Early or Winners Triangle.
Yeah. Greg, yes.
Just a quick point about Loddon Park. This is a big community, it's a relatively new community, and they have no bus service from there that can take them to Twyford Station. This is where this all started. But on this journey, I've picked up lots of other points which people in Woodley have brought to my attention about bus services, and I'm very grateful for the comments today. It's very helpful, especially about disabled access.
Okay, nothing else you want from us?
I think disabled access is important because I know of one case where a disabled person at the Chequers bus stop was refused permission to come on the bus, purely and simply because the disabled spaces were taken up with wheelchairs and what have you, and there was nowhere safe.
I was left sat at the bus stop in by the Chequers only last week because he had two mothers on the bus with buggies.
This is a problem.
And he wouldn't ask them to fold the buggies up so that and sit in an ordinary seat.
I mean, from the bus driver's point of view, you've got to understand it. It's a health and safety.
Because there's a notice there on the window that says wheelchair has priority over this space. Okay, but you wouldn't ask them to fold their buggies up.
Yeah, that's law under the Equality Act 2010. So that driver was wrong. The wheelchair user has priority over the buggies, and they either have to fold them up or leave. So that the bus driver and many buses are then in breach of the Equality Act.
I know that. You know that.
Yeah. So maybe the company needs to train their drivers a bit better. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. You're happy with our...
Very happy.
Jolly good. Okay, thanks very much. Right. We come on to transportation and highways. Any updates on the community speed watch? Nothing at all to report on that at the moment.
I did ask Councillor Taylor. She said she's focusing on the cycling and walking network. Right. When that's completed, she then will pick up on community speed watch again.
Okay. Any highways issues?
No, just to say that the potholes are being filled. They've quite well working. So
wonderful job down Vauxhall Drive, haven't they?
Oh yeah.
Good Lord. I mean, I went down there. It's like a patchwork.
Apparently, they're coming back in a month's time and doing the whole lot.
Are they?
Resurface the whole lot.
Oh,
Yeah.
good.
Yeah, but there's an election going on, isn't there? Sorry, Karen.
Okay. Any other highways issues?
Councillor Horsley.
Yes, Bob.
Yeah. Hi, Bill. Sorry, me again. Just the tree in London Bridge Road. There's been some concern online on social media about the lean on that tree opposite the junction, near the opposite the junction.
Where's this on London Bridge Road?
Yeah.
Yeah, the big
regularly, doesn't it? I mean, it does look awful.
Yes, someone put some pictures of Google Earth over the years, and it's moving. It's moving down.
It's leaning left.
Yeah.
Is it? Carol, you got something?
It's regularly monitored. In fact, I think it was this week they were going to go out and have a look at it again. So it's on their radar.
Right.
They can't afford not to be, really, can they?
No. Thanks, Carol.
Okay. Any other issues on the highways? No. Good. Community issues. Anything at all? No. Okay. Publications, information, promise inclusion letter March 26. This is to say the receipt of, and Decelerate 7, Thames Valley Community Speedwatch newsletter. Okay. Future agenda items. Anything at all that we need to add to the agenda? Nope. And publicity and website. Items to be publicised. Anything at all that we need to include? No?